Hey guys, thanks for listening to The Cynical Nerd. Please keep in mind that we do not avoid spoilers for any of our topics, whether they are current or past media. Listen at your own risk. Oh, damn it. So speaking of being sick and diseased, we've both been very, very sick.
That was a very smooth segue.
Yeah, just dive right back in, hit record, say the same sentence again. Sometimes you gotta, you know what I mean? That's showbiz,
I like
baby.
I like it. How you feeling?
I feel all right. I still got a little throat gunk. You can hear Veronica coughing in the back. That's not going to stop the whole time. I guarantee it.
I don't think I can hear it, but I probably will on the final because apparently I hear everything there and nothing during the recording.
Well, how are you feeling is the more important question. You had the more pressing illness.
Yeah,
you had the more media-centric sort of ailment.
Politically motivated ailment.
No, that's not what I meant. I just mean it sounded like a severe bronchitis.
Trump
outbreak.
himself ran to my house and coughed in my face.
Coughed in your mouth?
Yeah. And he said, here's some comfy.
Now you got
I can't do Trump. I can't
it's really hard.
Yeah, to keep up appearances, though, we don't talk in between podcasts, even though we talk nonstop all the time.
That's true. Never
we took off last week. Surprise! If you're a regular listener, you would know because you're probably mad at us for not giving you a weekly dose of.
And we appreciate you showing up every week too. By the way,
just bullshit in your ear holes. And thank you for being here every week. It really means a lot. Before we dive in today, I will remember to shill. I promise. I had COVID, so for the very first time, I had contracted COVID for the first time since the pandemic started, and I felt like a major loss. Like I was like, I made it 2.5 fucking years without getting touched by the Covedale, and it touched me good, and really, I blame it's 100% my son's fault.
Yeah, you should get rid of him. I would.
Like I'm pretty sure it's not. I don't even think it's a question of a doubt. Like we mapped it out. Like the times make perfect sense. He probably got so. For the listeners, we'll get a little insight into the exciting lives of Derek and Chris. we had a little hangout.
We did. We got together, just the two of us in a field at 9 p.m.
It's specific.
We just stargazed.
Okay? Yeah,
it's a good time.
I said specific, but then I thought it would be funnier if I meant like Pacific. Like it was, we specifically said 9 p.m. Pacific time, specifically Pacific.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I still have the Covedale brain, the Cove feed. I don't know where Covedale's coming from. So yeah, we had a little get together and literally Monday night after the Saturday hang. So I feel a little sick, and I've had several head colds since COVID, so I don't immediately assume that it's COVID. I just it felt like a head cold. My entire symptoms could be summed up as a harsh head cold with some really crazy chills that I haven't had since I was probably real little, or younger-ish.
You should lie though. Like 10 years from now, you'd be like, "Oof, we got it bad. Yeah, we barely made it. We got by."
Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, like, I'm talking like one of the worst head colds you can think of. Like, we had really bad aches. Like, I didn't want to move.
Yeah.
For like 24 hours at a time.
That's what I've heard. That's the main symptom everybody says. You just like feels like you got hit by a fucking truck. It's like,
well, I don't know if you had these, but it's almost exactly the same types of like body aches I got when I did the booster for the vaccine.
Right. Yeah.
It's just like they're not debilitating. Like if you had the willpower and the strength of mind, which I do not.
Yeah. You could punch another person in the face. You could
be a functional human still through those pains, but I'm crippled by the mildest of.
Me too. I'm a huge bitch when I'm sick.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the first 2 days we felt just kind of shitty. We took Grayson to the doctor because he started to develop a cough. We're like, oh great, the whole Reed household is sick. Nah, they COVID tested him and his little ass was fucking positive.
Yeah.
So
and they were like, get him the fuck out of this office right now. He's positive. Get out.
They were like, if he's not out in 2 seconds, we're shooting him and you.
It is kind of weird. I saw something, speaking of COVID, the other day. It was a baby announcement. It was a friend of a friend. All right. I just have to get this off my chest.
You sounded like a comedian switching to speaking of COVID.
Well, this couple, they shared their baby announcement or like gender announcement photo. And it was a sign that they wrote that said, we're 100% COVID positive. We're having a baby boy. And it was a little onesie that said, like, my parents didn't socially distance.
Oh,
Can
God.
you imagine if, like, your mom died of COVID and, like, she had, like, a tube in her throat and they wouldn't let you in the room and you're just still living with that? And then you're at CVS to get some Reese's and some fucking baby has a COVID-themed onesie on? Oh, my God, the mental breakdown that you would have. Just unrelenting. People are really getting over this thing, huh?
What I'm saying is, I know how people shoot up movie theaters. Is what I'm getting at. I'm kidding. Jesus Christ, it's been back. Okay, it's been a rough week.
Yeah.
We're back. It's
We're back.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm rough. My mind still feels a little foggy.
I have the brain goo as well.
The brain goo. All right. Well, so you're feeling better though. I didn't even ask how you were.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I just have this pad of mucus that's just sort of in the back still that just comes to the front every now and then. So if I mute myself and then duck my body away, I'm clearing that pad of mucus.
Yeah, I made sure my mute button works because I still have a little bit of a dry cough.
Yeah.
And, jabbering my jaw as much as we do during the podcast.
We got to do it, though. It's been 2 weeks. We can't. This is our main source of revenue. That's how I feed my family.
Our sponsors have been really pressuring us to get back on the air. So this is 70 fucking 6. Bro, episode 76 of the Cynical Nerd.
Mm.
We are slowly and surely creeping up to the big 100.
Mm-hmm.
We'll plan something super fun for that. It's going to be a little while, right? 30 some odd weeks, 24 some odd weeks.
Yeah, that many.
Yeah, that number is the correct number. Because we were off last week. Whenever we don't record, it's like a punishment the next week because our doc is fucking gigantic this week. So forgive us and yell at us on Twitter. Or send us an email if we don't give the topic you were excited to hear us talk about enough love, because we're going to be running through a lot of this stuff and just
or if we missed something, because I feel like we did, but there's no way we could add even one more thing to this. There's so much shit.
I'm probably going to just skip a couple things also. So it's, none of the trailers, but like one or two of the news articles. I was like, I don't care about that. Anyway, before I move on, email us at questions@thecynicalnerd.com if you have any questions, comments. What did Chris Hardwick used to say on his talk show? Quements? I don't know what the fuck those are, but if you have any questions or comments, email us or tweet at us at the Cynical Nerd. Go follow us. We gotta get that. We gotta pump those numbers up.
We got rookie numbers right now.
At the Cynical Nerd on Twitch, not Twitch. I'm telling you, I'm foggy. I'm foggy Nelson. Daredevil, we'll talk about that later. Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok, we are at the Cynical Nerd. None of those other things. So, tweet at us. Say hello. Say hi, hello. How are you? We'll say fine. Doing well. How about you?
Yeah, you guys could have done that when we were sick, but nobody did. Not that we're worried about it or anything. Yeah. Let's start the show for your entertainment now that we're back.
All right, let's fucking do it. This is old news at this point, but Bayonetta 3 is out in October. And Bayonetta 3's always looked like super thirsty basement weeb content to me. And it turns out that they understand that that's what they are too. Because they've added a, like, I don't know what you would call it, like a oops, my mom's here mode.
Yeah.
Like
that's pretty much, that's the best way you could possibly describe it.
I'm playing Switch at Easter dinner and my grandmom's looking over my shoulder.
What are you
like,
playing, sweetheart?
Yeah. And then right then, Bayonetta jumps on screen, her or one of the other 100 people in that trailer that are fucking half naked and very sexualized. They made a mode that covers up all the juicy bits. And by juicy bits, I mean juicy tits. Yeah. And by juicy tits, I mean, come on.
They've always covered, I don't know if you played any of them, but
no,
they've always covered, like the pussy. They've always covered the truly good bits, the cream of the crop, as one might say. But I guess she's totally like from neck to toes, just like totally
Episode 76, the cream of the crop. I'm sorry.
But it's I got to tell you, I know that you see this and you think we be bullshit. It's the same fella who did Devil May Cry. The games are, well, I can only play the first one. It was very fun. It was a very well made game.
I heard they were good.
However, it is weeby bullshit, though. Like, you have to be willing to endure that. And that's why I never played the second one. And I'll tell you something. It's why I won't play the third one, because I just can't put up with that anymore. However, I do have good memories of the first.
I got a girlfriend and a son now. I can't be looking at this half naked ladies all the time.
Can't have these
divert
naked
thine
ladies on
eyes.
my Switch.
Yeah, no, honey, there's no other naked ladies but you. I swear. I don't know what I'm doing, like a weird 1920 Elmer Fudd.
That's how I talk when we're not recording.
Yeah. I'm trying to find those wascally strap-ons. Okay. This is a rant. So the second article in here, the controversial one, is the one I'm skipping. And listen, I know for all those out there, you're probably going, well, now I want to know what it is. Look, I don't feel like having the argument anymore. I did when I wasn't sick. All right. And now I don't feel like having it anymore. And really the argument came down to like, never mind. Because even if I say that,
just say it. You have to say it now. You just should have. You could have just skipped right over it. You have to say what it is.
You're right. I should have just slid over like a.
Yeah.
What are they called? Like a skimboard.
That's it.
One of those assholes at the beach wearing a skin. Like he always got a bandana on. Sorry to you. I'm sorry. I know you used to wear bandanas when you were younger.
Right. I'm reformed.
He's probably wearing Pac sun pants. He's from New York, but he says he's from the shore. Anyway, so I put this article in here originally because I finished Miss Marvel, which is the finale is better than the rest of the show. The show overall, I still didn't love that much, but the finale was pretty fun. Mm-hmm. Mostly because they do what you want them to do with Miss Marvel. They make her bendy, and she has cool fight scenes, and she becomes like she has the sick costume. Her costume is really well designed. And they show her doing actual Miss Marvel shit as opposed to like, Schmorgador, I can't go to the Adventure Con. Sorry.
Schmorgador.
Anyway, the controversy was that there's a character in the show called Kamran. He kind of befriends her, and then turns out he's like the son of one of her enemies. And in the comic books, apparently he is an Inhuman, and he ends up becoming like a bad guy, as far as I know. He's aligned with the villain lineage. He deceives Kamala, or whatever. He does whatever he wants to get whatever he wants, basically. And the showrunners said they were going to take him probably in a different direction. They said that, and they actually said the line, "I will not write a young Muslim boy as a bad guy." And listen, that's the controversial part to me, because I'm going to say that's stupid.
It's definitely. Oh, sorry, you were coughing. I thought you were.
No, yeah, please go ahead.
Okay.
So I can drink.
No, I get it. When I first read this initially, my first thought was, when I read the line, "I'm not going to write a young Muslim boy who's a bad guy," I went, all right, I get it. Like, a part of me does understand. We're just getting through this decades-long era where, like, Muslim was a dirty word. For a lot of people, it's still a dirty word for some reason. So, like, I understand the not wanting to paint, a character in that light. But to me, at the same time, it's a little like, isn't that condescending? I know it's sort of like, I always feel weird when we cover stuff like this because, like, I'm a straight white guy, and I'm
the whitest of the white.
I'm overly represented in absolutely everything. So, like, my opinion doesn't matter. But the thing is, we have a podcast, not because we should talk about what we're not allowed to talk about, but because we're just here to talk about shit. And so I do think it's a little weird. And I feel like if I was in that position, I would feel like I was being condescended. Like, just take the character in the direction they're supposed to go. You don't necessarily have to stay true to the source material, but I just feel like it's the same thing as with Maeve in The Boys. Eric Kripke had come out and said, well, I'm not going to kill a queer character. I'm tired of that sort of trope. And so we, basically admitting we would have had her die in that scene where she self-sacked, but just because she's bisexual, they let her live. I don't know. That's just, I hate that. That's just
self-sack, technical term.
Yeah.
It just felt like there's one end of the spectrum, which is bigots and assholes and people who immediately hate anybody who's associated with the word Muslim, and they're wrong.
Yeah.
For that, they are 100% wrong, and I completely denounce them. They're the worst people on the planet Earth. And then there's the people here, which I feel like is just on the other side, unabashedly, with no room for the world is full of gray tones, like nothing's black and white. So to say I won't make a Muslim boy a bad guy, it's like, okay, well, I see where you're coming from, but isn't that like it's like patronizing almost. Or I feel like it should be, but again, I'm a white guy, so I know that I don't have that experience.
Yeah.
To say that, like, I can't say this is my truth, this is where I came from, but like to say I just won't do it and there's no room for like, but there are bad people who are Muslims. There are bad people who are Christians. There are bad people who are Jewish. So to just paint in a broad stroke and say I won't do this immediately annoyed me. And that's why I put the article here.
Yeah. Agree. Boom. Next.
God damn it. This hurt my throat more than I thought. Hasbro will let you become an action figure. Who gives a shit, right? Who cares about this?
Go. Next. Cool.
You've probably seen the adverts for it already. You can put you scan a picture in, they make your dumb face on top of. You're not that skinny. You're probably 300 pounds overweight, and you're going to look like the Red Power Ranger. No one's going to even know it's you.
The only reason I would want a toy of myself is to put it in a jar and then come into that jar. That's the one singular reason, just so I can do a cum jar tribute to myself.
Self-adulation.
Yeah.
Maybe self-flagellation.
Oh, fart and cum in the jar? Oh, no.
Self-flatulate? No, that's the same thing. Okay, whatever. I meant to say sucking your own dick. Hey, that cool game TMNT Shredder's Revenge that we liked, it sold 1 million copies in 1 week.
I'm so happy for them because they deserved every single penny of that 1 mil.
Me too.
Excellent game. And I do still want to, I know we kind of shelved that because we've been playing other shit lately, but I really would like to revisit and do the very hard mode non-Turtles run that we've been discussing.
We have been. That's all I gotta say about it though. Go play it. It's very fun. Sold 1 million copies. Next! Skyrim! People are still making fucking mods for this game, but this one's actually kind of cool. So someone made a Skyrim mod that allows co-op to work. It's for 2 to 8 players. It's been tested at 30 plus people, just as a nice little straight test. Apparently it runs pretty good. If you want to go quest and hang out with your buddies together in Skyrim, it's called Skyrim Together Reborn, or Skyrim Together. Skyrim Together. There's people still making fucking mods for that game. You're the reason they keep reselling it.
Yeah. Well, the mods are free though. They used to be paid, but that didn't work out.
I remember that whole debacle. They were like, we're going to make our own mod store. And people were like, the fuck you are, my guy.
But I mean, I feel like it hasn't, like, this would have been cool 8 years ago, but now it's a little weird. I just don't, every now and then I get this itch. I'm like, should I reinstall Skyrim? And 100% of the time I talk myself out of it.
I'm very proud of you for that.
I just don't even think having a friend there would make it fun at this point. I've done it. It's done. I did it.
That's what she said. Next. There's a Madam Web movie coming out for some fucking reason. Oh, that's right, because Sony keeps trying to make their own Spideyverse happen without Spidey. But here's a weird piece of news. So I think we talked about this in the past. Dakota Johnson's actually who's a great up and coming actor, is leading the Madam Web movie. Adam Scott just joined the cast. Adam Scott.
Dakota Johnson up and coming. Hasn't she been around for like 15 years?
But she's still young. So I guess I should just say young actor.
Right. Actor.
Adam Scott joined the cast. Adam Scott from Parks and Rec.
Love that guy.
I do love him. He was also just in this Apple TV Plus series called Severance, which he earned an Emmy nomination for. Emmy nomination. I said Emmy nomination, which is also a thing, but in Upside Down World. I haven't seen that show, but I know he's a good actor. Yeah. I've only really seen him in comedic roles, but he apparently does pretty well with his dramatic chops, as do a lot of comedians, I've noticed.
Yeah, he does. He was in, I'm not going to be able to think of the name of the movie. He was in this movie, like, right as he started his role as, like, Derek in Step Brothers, and everybody knew him as, like, the goofy side role. He starred in this role where he played a dude who, like, fucks his little brother's girlfriend, which sounds terrible, but, it was an incredible movie, and he was incredible in it. And then he just sort of like did Parks and Rec, and he's like, I got my money. And he just shows up every now and then. But I love him. He's incredible.
He was also in Krampus.
Really? Wait, really? Is that real?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well.
There was a movie. Wait, was he in this movie called High Crimes?
Beats me.
Yeah, well, hopefully not. Anyway, okay, whatever. It's a weird movie. It keeps apparently happening, chugging right along, adding people to the cast. It's supposed to come out July 7th, 2023. Speaking of things that are still happening, even though I didn't expect them to, we talked about this before.
Yeah.
And all this is a title mention. There's nothing else here to go off of because I want to know how you feel about it. So The Boys has a spinoff show coming out, and we talked about this very briefly in the past, and it's going to be college kids. It's going to be a college for super-powered kids, but they said same humor, same raunchiness, which you can imagine. I mean, I remember my college years, quote unquote. They released the title. It's called Gen V. Obviously, a play on Compound V from the show. Derek, how do you feel about that title?
I don't mind the title. There's nothing wrong with the title. I don't care about the show at all. It's going to be really bad. I know it is. Just make the boys. Just make more of the boys. Make more of the main thing. I don't care about all this side shit. Diabolical was mostly trash. It's a clever play. Here's the thing. Here's my horrifying experience I had with this. Of course, it's a play on the term Gen Z, and they showed all these kids. There was no trailer, but it showed just basically the actors like hyping the show up, just like the main cast does with the real actual show. Okay, the only one that matters. And I'm like, these kids are way too young. This isn't how old college kids are. I'm in college right now. And then I was like, oh yeah.
Oh no.
I'm in college really late though. This is exactly what college kids look like. Gen Z is in college right now. So that was a little terrifying, but
so it made you feel bad about yourself?
Made me feel bad.
Okay.
That I'm not one of them.
Oh God.
Young and full of life.
One of us. I reorganized some of our remaining news articles, to line them up with the trailer that they should be going with. So like there's some Marvel phase 5 and 6 news. I put them in front of the Marvel trailers. So we're just going to dig into the trailers now, get started so we have a nice head start, and talk through, because we got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Talk through these bad boys, get to the DC and Marvel stuff, and then talk about that. And then, of course, our main topics for the week, which I hadn't previously announced. We're talking about What We Do in the Shadows. Did you see the 3rd episode?
No, I only saw the first 2, I think, actually.
For shame.
Yeah, shit. Whoopsie.
That's okay. The 3rd one's my favorite so far, but no big deal. It doesn't hurt that bad. What We Do in the Shadows, episode 1 and 2. Resident Evil, we watched the entire thing. That was also only going to be 2 episodes. However, we skipped a week because we were all sicky boys. Yeah. And then the movie Men. Plural, as in all of us.
Yeah, men's with an S on the end.
I was gonna go Z, like boys to men.
Right.
I fucked that up. Boys to men's. Mind of Menzia. That's how it's spelled. With a Z. All right. Look, I hate. We talked about previously trying to avoid doing the thing where we put something in here and one of us immediately goes, I don't care about this. But I don't care about a Rob Zombie directed Munsters movie, no matter how fucking hard I try. I had an epiphany, not an epiphany. I had a realization watching this. I mean, I know that they could be the same thing, but it wasn't that smart of a realization, so I don't count it as an epiphany.
Doesn't count.
Watching this trailer. I know that Zombie is known for surrounding himself with the same like troupe of actors. Like his fucking wife, I think, is in it, or girlfriend. I think they're married. I apologize for not knowing that. Rob Zombie, don't kill me in my sleep. Recurring nightmare of mine. And I realized while watching this,
that would suck though. Can you think about that? Look at how he dresses and does his makeup. If you woke up with him in your room, that would be a bad experience. That'd be something you remember.
The title of my next song is Rob Zombie's My Sleep Paralysis Demon.
Sitting on your chest.
Yeah.
Singing Dragula.
I wish I could do that without hurting my voice. Here's the thing. I understand that The Munsters is supposed to be this campy, was it 60s show? I don't even remember the era in from whence it came. But I will tell you something. Watching this trailer, I didn't think this is campy. I just thought these actors are bad.
Yeah.
And that was my realization that I know that he loves working with the same people, and it's probably because they work for cheap, because they're not big names. And it's all I can get.
I wonder if he put Sherry Moon Zombie in the first film that he put her in, I guess House of a Thousand Corpses. And ever since then, she just expected it, and he can't say no because it's his wife. She's just like, so I'm going to star in this one, right? And he's like, yeah, of course. That was the plan this whole time. I wrote your name right there in the script, honey.
Yeah, see? He's like scribbling.
Right? I don't want Margot Robbie in my movie. Why? Why would I want that?
It was just a reference for you. Yeah, you're so beautiful. Sorry. Anyway,
I don't hate these trailers as much as everyone else does. I don't know why, like they're being dragged on the internet.
So I didn't know they were being dragged on the internet. I was just telling you my own personal opinion. So apparently I'm just hive mind.
Big time. Everyone says they look cringe, and like they do. Like I'm not like, oh, I can't wait to see this, but I don't look at it and just go, oh, this looks terrible. Like if it's on one day, I'm gonna watch it. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. Just something fun about it. Something a little fun. Something about a PG Rob Zombie movie. I'm like, what's he gonna do? Because in all of his other movies, that he squeezes in as many curse words into every fucking line of dialogue that he possibly can. He's like, welcome to the piss shit club. Get your farting butt down on my shitting stool now. Like it's like overbearing. Like Jesus Christ, Rob, just take a fucking breath. Use some normal adjectives. So, seeing him do a PG movie, let's see what he does.
Yeah, I don't, the effects look really bad.
They do. Yeah, I don't know what, like, the fact that if someone were to try to modernize the Munsters, it would bother me. And I think it's the fact that he's doing a 1-to-1, like, I don't know, remake, I guess you would call it. There's something in there that I'm like, I kind of respect that a little bit, like keeping that, like, pulpy 60s vibe. I'm like, I don't know. There's just something there for me. I can't quite explain it.
I can whip you up a hubby down in the lab. I hate it. You know what it is? Because it's played as if this is supposed to be just like the sitcom version of it, but there's no laugh track anywhere.
Yeah. Certainly not out of my face.
Right. Not out of my mouth.
I think one part got one of these out of me. And that was it.
I like the guy dressed like Nosferatu. That's about it.
Yeah.
And he's like a really soft and gentle, like, okay. All right, moving on. That movie's coming out if you care. I sure don't.
You probably shouldn't in all reality.
No, you should not. Unless you're really into it, in which case you're probably
in which
really
case you're
mad
still
at me,
wrong.
Right? Yeah, in which case turn the podcast off right now. We don't want you as a fan. All right. Coming up next, we had a trailer for a movie called Fall.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Fall.
Fall.
That's all you get. No, so this is it's supposed to be like a, what would you call this? Like a thriller?
Thriller, probably.
Okay. This, I mean, if you have a fear of heights, then this movie is basically for you. But don't get me wrong.
I do.
I don't have you do?
Like really bad. Like I can't be on like the second rung of the ladder. Like I'm not kidding.
So then this trailer made you very unsettled.
No,
okay.
It had like my stomach up in my lungs. It was really crazy.
Okay. It's a pretty simple premise. There's an actor here, Grace Caroline Curry. Funny enough, she's one of the kids in the Shazam family. I thought she looked familiar. She plays the
Would you call
oldest.
it the Shazamly? Would you call it that?
I wouldn't call it that. I've seen people call it that online, and I want to murder them.
Well, me too now. Let's do it.
Goddamn cove cough.
I never know whether to like let you finish your cough or like interrupt, because it seems like every time I'm like, oh, let me take the reins. I start to talk and then you start to talk and then I just feel rude. So now I'm just letting you cough. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll get the circadian rhythms of the way you sleep. I don't know. It became a song. Yeah, anyway, so the first movie, she was the eldest about to head off to college. In this movie, she's still around. I don't know what she did with her life. Didn't go to college or came back for break or some weird coincidental shit. She was, so fun fact, in the first film, when she transformed into her, I don't know what her name is, Mary Marvel or some shit. I don't know what the superhero version of her when she says Shazam.
Wait, are we talking about Fall or are we talking about Shazam? I'm so confused.
Well, the actor The main one in Fall is in Shazam.
Oh, okay. I understand.
It's the eldest that went to college in the first film.
She's the eldest of the Shazam. Like, got it.
Yeah. Eldest of the Shazam kids. There you go. And if I said a little fun fact here, which we could have saved for later, but I'm doing now.
Oh, got you. Okay.
In the first film, when she transformed, she was played by an older woman who was taller than her, more muscled. In this one, they were like, oh, she's old enough to like play herself as a superhero. So that's just her in the costume now.
Oh.
Doing both. So good for her. And sad for the person who lost the role from the first movie, who probably expected to come back. Let's be real. Because everyone else did. Adrian Brody's back. But not you, lady.
She's like,
sorry.
I didn't get my call yet. What's happening here?
There was actually an article about it when they announced, like they showed the first picture of them as the family. They were like, oh, she's playing herself now as the older one too. They're like, wait a second. Anyway.
They're like, we had to save money somewhere and we found where.
Her name was fill in the blank here because I don't know. Okay, so this movie Fall stars the actor Grace Caroline Curry, who's also in Shazam 1 and will be in Shazam 2 when it comes out, and Virginia Gardner, who's her friend. And the trailer opens and they're climbing a cliff face, and the guy who we presume is her boyfriend has a terrible accident, which already I was like, oh no, because that stuff is cringe. When someone's like, when shit's like falling and you have no control over it, scares the shit out of me. Not necessarily the heights for me. It's more like the loss of control.
Dude, I saw a video before we go any further. I just want to tell you. I saw a video. And everything turned out okay, so I'm going to send it to you. I wouldn't send you like a gore video. Not unless you like specifically requested it. Then I would do it. But you wouldn't, so I wouldn't.
No,
but if you did, I would.
I would.
And maybe if you didn't, I still would if you had done something that I didn't like and I wanted to get into your head. But anyway, everything turned out okay. This was this same thing. I was reading, I couldn't quite understand it. Like rock climbers were in this thread talking about it. Anyway, there's a guy climbing, right? And they have
people who said they were rock climbers.
Right, precisely.
Right.
So like,
we get it.
I guess you have to set up
Wikipedia.
I guess you have to set up like 3 anchors. And then like once you set up your third, you're like safe to do your next big climb. Because 3 is like the magic number to, if you fall, there's enough weight there and enough of a fail safe that, you know, whatever. So this guy had only set up his first one. He had a guy underneath him who had all 3 of his set up. This guy had only set up his first one, and there was like an equipment fail, and he fell. He's like 20 feet above the guy below him.
Oh, shit.
And he falls, he grabs onto his rope, and when the tension of him, like when it becomes taut, springs that out of the rock. And this dude screams in a way that can only be described as someone who knows for sure that they are about to be dead.
Oh, it's like their death throes.
Dude, it's like in my head still. Like it's the most horrifying, but he happens to fall. This guy below him had all 3 of his set up. And so he falls. This dude looks up, and the dude, like, his body falls like onto his chest. And the dude happened to like have and he caught him. He saved his life. But like the scream that he lets out is so like, oh my God, dude, it's like just pierces right through me. It like makes me feel all weird, like you're pouring ice water down my spine. It's horrifying. And that's what I thought of during this scene that you're talking about. So
the scream the feeling that the scream gave you is probably the same feeling as when you do watch a video where it has death in it that you didn't know was coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like when I've had videos sent to me where they're like, check this ridiculous accident out in India, and there's clearly like some guy who gets hit by a car and just cartwheeled. And you're like, oh, like he's dead.
I saw a guy get cut in half in China. I didn't know what the video was. I just clicked on this was like a week ago. And it was a guy in China. And I guess they have like the really fast, efficient trains or whatever. And
don't tell me you saw the same thing I did. Go ahead.
He like missed his train. And so he grabbed onto the outside, but he got caught. And the train goes woof, and like takes off. And by the time it gets to like 50 miles an hour, it knocks him loose. And then there's just like this sign, like an advertisement for whatever, cologne or something. And he just hits it at the exact angle, and he is just sheared in half.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh God, it is very easy to cut someone in half. This
does not take a lot of force to kill a human.
He wasn't going 400 miles per hour. He was going like 40, 50 miles per hour. It was, it was brutal.
We are soft creatures.
Very, very soft and gushy.
You ever seen the crack fox?
It's like a bunch of wet socks on the inside.
Pull me apart like soft bread. Smashing my face with your fancy boots, Mr. Kind Man. Anyway, yeah, I'll watch that. So this is her boyfriend falls off the cliff face and apparently dies, and she's obviously very upset, as one would be. her girlfriend comes to her like a 6 months later, and she's like, "Yo, also Jeffrey Dean Morgan randomly in this movie. Okay, cool.
Forgot.
I love that man. He's a handsome devil." She comes. She's like, "Look, if we got to do this. I got to get you out of your funk. We got to do this climb, and it's this crazy huge like radio tower, middle of nowhere, middle of the desert." That's the whole movie. It's going to take place on this rig. It's going to be like 127 hours, but for heights.
Yeah.
They climb up. Something happens. The ladder disconnects. They're trapped up there at the top of this fucking thing, and they got to figure out how to get a hold of somebody, how to get down. And the trailer is, I would say the right word is harrowing.
Yeah. It's thrill seeking, except you're not in any danger whatsoever. It's like, remember Gravity with Sandra Bullock? It's like,
great movie.
Do you want to feel like you're falling into the atmosphere from space, but not actually burn up and die? Gravity.
Sam had such a hard time watching the movie that she had to stop. Like, I finished it.
Like emotionally or like motion sickness? I've heard people get motion sick from it.
No, like she doesn't, the concept of space scares her to death.
Yeah.
So the concept of like things breaking and going wrong in space is like basically like if you're afraid of heights and you're watching Fall. Like,
no, I was emotionally distressed throughout it. I can relate to that. It's definitely, and that's what this movie looks like. It's going for that same, like, don't worry, you're in a chair, you're on the ground, but we're going to simulate these feelings.
There's one where she's like, she goes to lean over the edge and I'm like,
oh, fuck, I know. Yeah.
No, back it up, pack it in.
Go ahead.
Let me begin.
Right.
Like my jewelry. Oh, it's a chip clip bet for I'm a child. Yeah. You have to watch the podcast for that one.
It's a chip clip.
It's my little chip clip in it. Anyway, we have more trailers to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
We had 2 trailers for Lord of the Rings in the dock earlier today because that's how long it's been since we recorded. However, I deleted the older one because I said, you know what? Why would we talk through 2? And this is a long trailer. This bad motherfucker's 3 minutos. 1, 2, 3. Uno, dos, tres. There's a lot in this trailer. I feel like we've been getting them very frequently recently, but I think it's because like Prime Day happened and then they released another one for like the general public. And this one came out right around. Yeah, this one came out during the Comic-Con. The Comic-Con. And I want you to talk about it because I know that you're the Lord of the, you're my resident. Like if this was a news station, you would be like the Pog champion that I would bring on whenever someone's Pog collection was found at a yard sale locally. I'm like, we have Derek Ryle here from somewhere in Pennsylvania. He's going to be talking to us about his all the slammers we found at the local yard sale. Derek, how much are these bad boys worth?
Well, the thing is, like, people who actually read Lord of the Rings would like laugh at the minuscule amount of information that I know about that world. But this, I got to tell you, it
This is my ring of power.
Sheep clip. No, I got to tell you, it looks good. Like I'm like in the minority here. Like these like Lord of the Rings people cannot get past the fact that there's like 3 black characters in the show, and I don't understand it. Like I hate the term woke because people have used it so much. And when you call shit woke, you look like you're one of those, I don't know, you just look like one of those assholes who is just accusing.
Who calls shit woke.
Exactly. But it's like, I understand that people, like people who make shows, we had a couple years where people were like basically not putting effort into the writing and putting more effort into the diversity and then going, well, if you criticize this show, you're criticizing the diversity of the show. I know that's a thing. Like, I know that's it's legitimate to criticize that. It's not as common as people make it out to be, but it does happen. I just don't understand how you can look at these trailers and the only thing people can bring up about it is just that there's a black dwarf and a black elf. Well, they've never been in the movies before. Well, so fucking what? What does it matter? I just can't, I genuinely don't understand like what's woke about that. It's just a fucking black actor. Like, I don't get it. They're like, oh, it's based on European mythology. So what? It's based on European mythology. Like, what?
It's made the fuck up.
It's made up. Yeah, it's made up about made up, inspired by made up. Yeah, no, I mean, it could be dog shit. Like, the story could be bad. That's all possible, but you can't tell any of that from these trailers. They're just attacking the face value of it. Now, granted, like, I guess Wheel of Time, which Amazon also did, people were really disappointed by. I guess that was one of the quote unquote woke shows. I couldn't speak to that. I didn't watch it. But and so people are using that as a diagram for this, but the IP and like budgeting of those two shows, there's so much difference there that I don't think that they're as comparable as people think they are. They're just going, company Amazon, genre fantasy, and thinking that it's like creating a roadmap for this show that's not out yet. The other encouraging thing is that at Comic-Con, a lot of the actors were, like they would answer people in Elvish, which sounds corny, but it's a way of showing like, hey, we care about the source material, and this is a passion project for me. That's what made the original trilogy so good. It was a passion project for like everyone involved. If you watch the behind the scenes on those movies, they're like incredible. Everyone is like just enamored. They're like in love every day to be at their job and just to be a part of this thing. Actors, crew, background, double, like everybody involved in those movies wanted to be there. So, and that really wasn't the case with the Hobbit movies. Like, those were a little bit more of a cash in. So all I'm saying is, I don't know, again, it's been my stance the whole time. I don't know it's going to be good, but the more I see of it, the more I'm like, this kind of looks like it could be something. Like, I don't know. I think it looks good. I can't wait.
I agree. I very much enjoyed this trailer. I think it feels like Lord of the Rings to me, or at least what Peter Jackson told me Lord of the Rings felt like when that trilogy of films came out. And it looks really good. Like, it looks like a full budget movie. Like, none of the CGI came off immediately as like jarring to me. Like, it feels properly epic. And I hope that the show can deliver on the promise, because it's a big fucking axe to wield to say that you're going to put on a Lord of the Rings show for people. So September 2nd, this comes out in Prime Video. Yeah. And it looks like we're going to get to see like early Sauron. I think that like,
that was my only criticism. He looks dumb. He looks like Eminem in like 1999.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is he a shapeshifter? Like, can he be multiple things?
So no? He was a white wizard initially, like Gandalf in the or Saruman, and then he just became corrupted by Morgoth, and that's when Morgoth. He became. Yeah, that was actually a lot better than how I said it.
Morgoth.
You should do like an audiobook for it.
Yeah, no.
That'd be the only word you were good at.
I read a little bit. What was the name of the? I'm already forgetting. Onway? One of the names of the like big spirits of the Lord of the Rings universe. One of which Eru, maybe, sure, whatever you say. And Morgoth was one of those.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Sauron was like his first in command, right? He's like his right hand.
If what I know of Lord of the Rings lore, Morgoth was like the original like evil of the world, and he sort of saw.
He was the first Dark Lord.
He saw corruption in Sauron and basically like seeped into his body and sort of became him. So he's more Morgoth than Sauron at this point, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. I did read that Morgoth had a lot, like, seeped into a lot of the spaces of the world and like corrupted men, and like he was the source of a lot. But I didn't read that he corrupted Sauron. I thought that Sauron was just like his right hand man.
You could be right. Like I said, I don't think I know Lord of the Rings lore as well as you.
I read the wiki, bro. And apparently,
I read the header paragraph of the wiki. So
when he was sent, Morgoth was sent out into the void, and in some versions of like Tolkien's indexes, he was prophesied to come back at some point, but that was like not clear because they weren't officially published or some shit. Yeah. And like in the stuff that is officially published, they don't say that. They just say that he was banished or something weird like that. But whatever. I read stuff.
The overwhelming majority of like the background lore is unpublished works that Christopher Tolkien like strung together and sold so that he could make money off of his dad's hard work is really what it is.
Tolkien with the big peen. Moving on. What do we got next? Up next, we have Harley Quinn, the official Red Band trailer for season 3, which, because we were sick baby boys, doesn't premiere in a week like it would have been if we talked about it last week. It actually comes out in 2 days. What? Season 3 will be live on HBO Max in 2 days. But yeah, I mean, the trailer, if you've seen any of the show, this trailer is more of that, which is not me criticizing it. I love this show, and I'm very excited. The whole first 2 seasons is do the slow burn of setting up Harley and Ivy as like actually being, you know, brave enough. They kind of like, they know they have feelings for each other. They kind of play around with them. The show's a comedy, so it's not like super focused on the relationship, but it does play a big factor in it. And at the end of season 2 was really when they were finally like, let's do this. So now this is when they're like together doing their fun little adventures. And it looks like there's a lot more ridiculous shit happening. So
I feel like we should stop calling lesbians. I feel like lesies is like maybe a little insulting. So I'm thinking.
I did not say lesies.
No, I know you didn't. I'm just saying.
I had
a thought occur to me. I think we should call them Beyonds because it's like unexpected. It's cutting edge.
Okay, I get it. I get it.
Beyonds? I had this is kind of a hint. You might be.
But then it almost sounds like you're calling them first half whatever word came before Beyonds. So you were like, "Are you guys Beyonds?" And it's like, no, they're not guys Beyonds. They're lesbians. Fucking weirdo. What's a guys being? No. I like it. I like it. But yeah, the trailer's fine. It's got the same humor. It's got the same tone. The show comes out in 2 days. I can't wait to watch it. I've been waiting for it to come back. It's been a long time because of the pandemic. It really fucked up their production animation schedule. I love Ron Funch as King Shark. He's the fucking funniest. I wait for you to sit down and give the show a second try.
Yeah, this trailer was funny, and I'm gonna do it. It's like the inspiration that I needed to finally get off my tuchus and get
that.
It
plus,
done.
I think we're caught up on most everything else at this point, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I gotta pick Better Call Saul back up though. We like have not in like a month watched a single episode.
I do as well. I'm in season 5, like 3 or 4 episodes in, so I've finished that, and then season 6, the second half, has started airing. We're almost there.
Oh, it just started airing the second half? Oh,
the second half started airing, yeah.
Feasibly catch up and not have the final episode spoiled for us then.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Might have to fast track that. Okay, good info. Good info. Good data.
Better Call Saul finale, August 15th. You have until August 15th.
Okay, that's going to be tough, but we could do it. We could do it. Could do.
Either way, go watch Harley Quinn. It's very funny, not just to you, but to everyone out there listening. You should give it a shot. Also, HBO Max just has a bunch of choice programming. Thanks for the sponsorship this week, HBO Max.
Thanks, H.
Yeah.
We've been sponsored by them for so long that we can just shorten it that way. They gave us the okay this week.
Yeah.
Just call us.
Or if we're going with your logic, tune into BO.
Tune into Bomax.
Bomax. Not to be confused with Baymax, who's also getting his own show for some reason.
Right, for some reason, yeah.
For some goddamn reason. Okay, remember that Game of Thrones show that's coming out?
Sure do.
Well, it's still coming out.
Yeah.
And there's a full length. Huh? There's a full length trailer for it, and it just dropped on the 20th for House of the Dragon. I gotta say, I don't. Sure, it's a thing that's coming out.
Yeah.
Will I give it a shot? Sure, I'll give it a shot. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not writing it off. We've talked about this, and nothing that has come out has changed my mind. So I feel like I don't have a lot to add. But if you've not heard our opinions on it before, Derek and I loved Game of Thrones a lot until the final 2 seasons, and that spoiled the kind of the entire line of product for me. So this trailer exudes Game of Thrones vibes, but I'm not excited. No. And if the show comes out and I watch it and it's good, I will be excited.
Doesn't it seem like they're just rehashing the set? Like I figured they'd do something but it's just like who's gonna end up on the throne?
It's like the
really
Targaryen. The Targaryen family. So it's actually inspired by true events. I can't remember the historically factual event that occurred, but George R.R. Martin himself, that old hound dog, that That old American bulldog of a writer. Because he looks like one, get it? He wrote it, and I don't know where it was written in one of his. I don't know if it was like an appendices thing, like Tolkien did, or if it was just a short story or mentioned offhanded in some other novel. But this
did you read any of the Song of Ice and Fire books?
I didn't. I have a real hard problem reading high fantasy novels.
Yeah.
I found out. I discovered.
He goes really in on like weird stuff, like.
Well, maybe it was just mentioned in a novel then, because.
Well, Daenerys like drinks river water and then she has diarrhea. There's like a whole chapter about it. It's very weird.
Well, now
I'm not making a joke. Is it
sold? Gotta pick it up. Can't wait for that one. It's called Dysentery. That's what she got from the surprise.
Dysentargaryen. Boom. Episode 76, baby.
My God. Oh, I had Cream of the Crop written down, but Dysentargaryen is pretty good actually. Hang on. I'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
I know it. I know what I'm getting at. Anyway, he mentions it apparently at some point. Just one of those things that deepens the lore of the story you're telling by mentioning some historical event that you don't flesh out. Easy to do as a writer, adds a lot of depth. That at some point in the past, the king. I don't know any of these people's names yet because we haven't started the show.
Yeah.
But the king is looking for his heir. He doesn't have a son. He's got a daughter. Natural succession would say his brother takes over the throne. He wants to give it to his daughter. He's like, no, she's my next of kin. She's my daughter. It's historically not something you do, which I said is inspired by true events. This happened. This is going to be the story of who it's going to be. If it's going to be the brother, and I'm sure it's going to have all the murder and sex and intrigue that any Game of Thrones show would have. The show also is not a linear. It takes place over a long period of time. We see a younger actor for his daughter and then an older actor as the show progresses in time. So we're going to see a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. Trailer looks okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
That's pretty much it. I'm burnt out. It's the same. I'm not like, I get it. Like, what else do you do with Game of Thrones? But it's really about who ends up on the Iron Throne again, 300 years prior. Who gives a shit?
What's weird is the Iron Throne looks like newer in this trailer.
So, interestingly enough, within the lore of A Song of Ice and Fire, the Iron Throne was once a lot more grand back in the day. Like, it was like built, like raised up. Like, if you look at the book's interpretation of it, it was like thousands of swords. And they actually make a little like jape about this in season 1 of Game of Thrones. But it was like swords were strewn everywhere, like you see in this trailer. And they were actually like piled up to the point where it was like raised up like 20 feet in the air. But like they make some joke about it in the show that like people were basically slipping and like falling on the swords and like getting seriously injured. So they took like 90% of the swords away.
I don't remember that, but that's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, show premieres August 21st. Watch it if you want to. I'm sure we'll check it out and tell you our thoughts on the first couple episodes.
Veronica and I watched that together right before we started recording, and she's like, I don't care, but like, I'm going to watch it. I was like, that's exactly how I feel about it. Yeah.
Samesies. Big same, Ron. Big same. All right. Let's just get through this next one. No, I'm just kidding. Look, well, I'll give it the time it deserves. Halloween ends. This trailer felt like it never would. I'm kidding. Or am I? You decide. Now, I don't want to poo-poo this before it comes out. I've been very vocal. I liked the first reboot, whatever it was considered. I did not like the second one. This one feels like a tonally different film from the last one I watched, though. It feels more intimate again, which is what I want out of this movie. I want a more intimate scare fest with Michael himself and not the whole town beating him with pipes.
Yeah.
So,
and like firefighters.
Yeah, it's really strange. This movie, I would assume, takes place on Halloween again. Because, God damn it, that guy just loves candy.
Yeah.
That's why he wears a mask. His teeth are all fucked up.
Did he wait a year? Or, like, is it this? It's got to be the same night. That wouldn't make any sense. I'll be back next year.
I hope he waited a year. My guy needed some time to heal for that fucking beating he took.
Yeah, he had a lot of damage that he immediately recovered from and then walked away to keep killing people.
Yeah, surrounded by a circle of people. Somehow he stood up and walked away and nobody noticed.
Nobody.
Just kidding. No, I really did. I did not. I will say, I'll go so far as to say I have disdain for the second movie in the franchise. Yeah. We'll see how this one is. This is a 1-minute trailer. Like I said, it's eerie. It's creepy. It's got a smaller vibe to it, but it's got like a more personal sense, and hopefully it's good. I want it to be good. I always want things to be good because I want to enjoy them.
Yeah.
Fun fact: I like enjoying movies. I don't like hating on things. Sometimes you just gotta hate.
You just gotta do it. Just gotta get it out. Can't keep it in.
But yeah, this movie comes out October 14th, close enough to Halloween to remind you that a movie called Halloween's coming out. That's all I got. I'm sure we'll get a fuller trailer down the line here. This is like a minute-long kind of teaser-ish thing.
Yeah.
So I assume in the next like 2 months we'll get another one.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the marketing department for for Halloween Ends.
Been doing a lot of work on this film.
Yeah. Look, we're moving on, but there's a trailer here. I got a couple friends, so I won't name them. One of them rhymes with Eric. One of them rhymes with ill.
Oh, I see what you're doing, you son of a goddamn bitch.
You like a game called Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm not ashamed of the fact that I like Dungeons and Dragons, you butthead.
The guy with the expensive Y-Wing Collector's Edition and the full-size 800. I'm not shaming you for anything you like, but woof on this trailer. Holy shit! If this is based on things so that's what I wanted to ask you. There's a movie coming out that I didn't even know existed, with fucking Chris Pine in it, who's just a honey.
He really is wonderful.
Those lips for days. Dungeons and Dragons.
Those lips.
Honor Among Thieves. It's a movie comes out next year, March 2023. So happy unbirthday to me. And yeah, it's a fucking movie based in the D&D universe. And did you watch this and go, oh, I know what that is because that's the thing in the game?
Yeah, some things like there's some shit they throw in there, like the mimic, and there's like a part where they jump into a gelatinous cube. That's like a huge hallmark of.
There's a Dark Souls crate.
A Dark Souls crate, yeah, of course.
Is that the mimic?
Yeah, that's the Dark Souls crate. That's what it's called in D&D, which is made in the 70s.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's look. Can I just get this out of the way? This doesn't look good. I'm not like, just because I like D&D doesn't mean I like this movie. They keep trying to bring D&D. Well, like every 15 years, they'll do some like live action D&D thing, and it never works. And the answer is simple. It's just some shit doesn't belong on a television screen in live action. It's a miracle, and fantasy is like a lot of times it's one of them. It's a miracle that Lord of the Rings is as good as it is. By all rights, that movie should be terrible, but they're not. They're masterpieces. That's like trying to catch lightning in a bottle again with like any other franchise is just not going to happen, especially D&D, because it doesn't take itself seriously. It's filled with jokes and tongue-in-cheek shit, which are in this trailer. So it's kind of like, all right, at least it's obeying the sort of source material a little bit. But I will watch this movie when it's on HBO Max and I don't have to pay a dime for it. Like, make no mistake. But this isn't anything I'm like, oh, I can't wait to line up outside on opening weekend. It's not going to be good. I see people doing this thing online where they're like, why don't they just do a true to life D&D movie where it's like people sitting around a table and they're playing D&D, but then as they're kind of think like, what's it called? The movie with The Rock, Jumanji, how they're all sort of playing a game as an avatar, that they're like that sort of thing. And I'm like, I think that's what this is. I think they just haven't shown the nerds sitting around a table. I think it is a group of kids playing D&D, and that'll either be revealed at the end or throughout. I don't know. We'll see. But that would be kind of a funny gimmick, I have to say.
Yeah, I'm all out of love. I wish I didn't use that song in the trailer.
Yeah, not good.
Because
Chris Pine is good.
Weird. He's always good, right?
His 3 minutes of Spider-Man in Into the Spider-Verse are better than like half of the other Spider-Mans combined.
Talk about mentor.
Yeah.
It's such a honey.
A hunay.
A hunai, if you will. There's like a weird owl bear in this. Sorry, I was watching it.
That's literally what it's called. That's its actual name. Ask me why it's called an owl bear. Go ahead.
I don't want to
ask me why it's called an owl bear.
Why is it called an owl bear?
Because it's half owl, half bear. That's why. It's a bear, but it has an owl head. Owl bear. But then there's were owl bears as well. Where if you get bitten by an owl bear who's like inflicted with lycanthropy, you will be an were owl bear. Were owl bear. Yeah, D&D, great game, baby.
I got sad news for you. You won't be watching this on HBO because it's coming out from Paramount, so no one will ever see it.
Yeah.
Bye.
Well, someone will certainly pirate it.
Somebody. I already used up my free trial, Paramount. I'm never going back.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Not with you putting fucking gems on there like the D&D movie. I'm sorry. Okay, moving on. Talk about they're making another John Wick movie. What's the last John Wick movie you saw?
2.
Okay, so you didn't see 3.
No. Parabellum.
3's better than 2.
Okay.
I still think 1 is the best.
But 4 has Donnie Yen in it, so automatically it gets like a 25% boost. Like it starts off ahead of any of the other ones because Donnie Yen is in it.
Ahead of the Coive.
Ahead of the Coive.
It comes up ahead of the
Honey,
Coive.
it's got Donnie Yen in it. We got to go see it. I love Donnie Yen. I do. He's incredible.
World famous actor Donnie Yen.
International superstar Donnie Yen.
Kung Fu master Donnie Yen. I don't know what bit we're doing. I love it. There's a sneak peek at John Wick 4. He kills people and he throws shit. And Donnie Yen has a fucking samurai sword and a pistol, and they're going back and forth, and it looks kind of badass. And I'll watch it. Fuck it, I'm in.
I gotta watch Parabellum though. I gotta watch Pendulum first.
There is such a sick knife fight in Parabellum. Holy fuck.
Yeah, haven't seen Paradigm yet, but I'll get around to it.
Got it. What about paragliders? What about a parodies? Nuts in your mouth. Okay, moving on. So there's 2 DC trailers, just 2 for Comic-Con. I'm actually surprised. So they're giving like no press at the Flash movie at this point,
right.
which is expected because of Ezra. They had a trailer. Sorry, not the second trailer. They had an official trailer for the second Shazam film. You might remember I mentioned it earlier. Sorry, I pushed my glasses up on my finger there. It's called Fury of the Gods. And just ready, set, go. Did you like the trailer? Yes or no?
No.
No?
I hated the humor in the first movie. I hated it in this trailer.
I think the first movie is like an unsung gem of DC, and I know that not everybody feels that way.
It's the Marvel movie of DC movies. That's why I don't like it. It's like it's overly self-aware and plays to its self-awareness too much, like so much, to the point where it's like leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. Like the part in the end of this where he's like, I just threw a freaking bus at a dragon. I love my life. I'm like, oh my God.
I agree with that critique, because here's what happens. If he exclaims, I just threw a bus at a dragon, that's it. Because you understand that he's emoting because of how ridiculous what he just did is. Yeah. He doesn't need to then add the line, I love my life, because it's implied. Yeah. That's called good dialogue writing. Take notes, motherfucker. I agree with that. I cringed at that one. Yeah. However, I also laughed at a couple parts of this. And I got to be honest, I never thought I would say this in my life, because I don't read like the Shazam family comics. I always like Shazam. The idea was always kind of chintzy to me, I guess. But when they're walking down the alleyway and all of them said Shazam at the same time, I was like, that's kind of cool.
Is that what it's called? Shazam?
Yeah, they say Shazam.
Anyway, well, I know that, but it's like, is it a verb? Are you Shazamming?
Oh, I didn't say. Oh, I have no idea.
You said they were walking down the alley. They all started Shazamming at the same time.
Oh, is that what I said?
Yeah. Like if they're on comms, they're like, have you Shazammed yet?
Have you said the word? Speak the name. Do you know why they do that? Have I ever told you that before?
No, every letter of the word Shazam is like a Greek god or something, right? But I don't know why they say the word.
Yeah, it's just because that's how you fucking. It's like Bloody Mary. You just gotta say them.
Yeah. They only have to say it once, though. That's the convenient part.
Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, Mercury.
You seem so deflated that you already informed me of that. Like, you're the one who gave me that information. It's the reason I have it. And you seem upset that I have the information that you provided for me. It was just like a year ago. So
so I've noticed like 85% of the time you and I agree on most things. Mm-hmm. But every once in a while we don't. And I know that it's normal and healthy.
Yeah.
And it still makes me sad.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't want to. I'm not trying to be cool. Like, oh, this looks dumb.
No, I see exactly where my bias bleeds over into my opinion, because I just agreed with you. Like, I understand where you're coming from. Some of this dialogue is cringy, 100%. But for some reason, my brain just like smooths those rough edges out. It's like, now you're good, bro. Just don't think about that part. Because for example, my brain went, the Shazam part in the alley was cool, so I'll forgive the joke at the end.
All right. Balances out. Balancing the skills, baby.
Baby. Anyway, Shazam 2. It's a movie that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got people in it. It's got fucking Helen Mirren in it. What a legend she is.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
And Lucy Liu. Where has she been?
I don't know. She still looks good for an old lady. Lucy Goo, more like, you know.
Oh no. Lucy Goo. Sorry, Lucy. I'm sorry, Miss Lou. That was very misogynistic of us. That comes out January 5th, so that's not too far away.
Mm-hmm.
And then, speaking of Shazam, they released another peek at Black Adam. Here's the thing with Black Adam. This Comic-Con trailer is basically a shorter version of like the full-length trailer we got like a couple weeks ago, I feel like. There's a couple new shots here and there. There's actually a kind of a nifty shot of Mr. Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, like coming in through a window, taking his helmet off. Just looks neat. I mean, there's not really like a shit ton of new footage here. It's a lot of recycled stuff.
I might have missed this, so I'm rewatching it as you're.
That's okay. I want to find the fucking moment when he walks through the window because it's fucking badass. There's also a Super 6 scene of him holding back like a car, with lightning, and there's like 6 Dr. Fates like holding onto his arms. The moment I'm talking about, when he walks through the window, is at like 21 seconds, 20 seconds. Little tiny blinking. Little tiny blinking, you miss it, babies.
I love the aesthetic of DC movies, so even though they're like much more overdone on the CGI, I just think that they're, I don't know, you actually explain it to me in a way that I appreciate. Marvel is like amplified humans. Like that's what their superheroes are, and there's nothing wrong with that. And not MCU.
This stuck?
Yeah.
This makes me happy.
Whereas DC is like
teacher.
The pantheon of the gods, and you get that sense from DC movies that you're watching like demigods as opposed to people who just have powers, like they have a couple things they can do. It feels like they have like a divine, I don't know. That's I just like the aesthetic of it more.
Yeah, no, it's very much meant to be like modern day mythology type stuff, you know. I mean, it's fucking Superman, for Christ's sake. My man does everything. My man. There was a rumor Henry Cavill was going to show up and do some Superman announcement. That did not happen.
Didn't happen.
Which makes me very sad because I love that man and I wish he would be Superman until he's too old to be Superman.
Yeah, and then I wish he'd still do it, and I would just pretend. I would de-age him in my head. Don't do what you did to Robert De Niro in The Irishman.
I'll undress him in my head. Come here, Cavill.
There was like a couple weeks ago where Veronica kept suggesting these movies. She's like, "Can we watch this?" and "Can we watch that?" And I'm like, "Wow, what are all these suggestions she's bringing up?" And then I realized that Henry Cavill was in all of them, and that was the reason that she wanted to watch them. And I didn't even get mad. I enjoy looking at his bulging pecs myself.
Yeah,
he
but
is huge. Like, not even in a funny way. Just like, how can you not appreciate the amount of work that man has put into his body, the amount of calories that he must consume, and how much work he has to put into like.
Same way I feel about fucking The Rock.
The Rock, yeah, dude, like huge, humongous. It's unreal.
Like almost all superhero suits are padded to some extent, right?
Yeah.
Because even though they get in great shape, like a bicep doesn't bulge that way all the time, unless you're like constantly flexing or something. So I remember before the first Black Adam pictures even came out, they showed a picture of the costume on a hanger, and it was like this flimsy piece of fucking rubber because Dwayne fills that out himself. Like he doesn't need the goddamn. And they show it. It cuts off like further down his like traps than most costumes do, so you can see the fucking bulk. You're like, oh, that's just him. He's just a fucking brick shit house. And good for him. I know that Black Adam's been a passion project for The Rock for a while. He's been attached to this thing for a lot of years, and I hope it comes out and I hope it's good. There's a cool article that I have right after this. This wasn't released in the Comic-Con footage that came out online, but they showed an extended like 3-minute trailer with a bunch of new stuff at Comic-Con, and in that they reveal that Amanda Waller will be in this. So as a little way to connect the universe, I'm not sure to the extent with which she'll be in it, but it's cool. I like Viola Davis plays a pitch perfect Amanda Waller, that's stone cold motherfucker who's just trying to get shit to shit. I mean, pitch perfect to the comics. And it works out because if there's going to be any kind of ties between this and the rest of the universe, which there definitely will be, it'll be fun. So I'm pretty sure. So this comes out first. Black Adam comes out October 20th, and then Shazam 2 is in January. I'm 90% sure there will be a Black Adam cameo in Shazam, even if it's just the end credits scene, because this comes out first and that comes out second. And apparently, at Comic-Con, that's all they fucking asked about was like, when are you guys going to meet? And they played super coy about it, which usually means that it's coming right around the corner. Also, it's his arch enemy. It's like Superman and Joker. It's like Shazam and Black Adam. They're the two sides of the same coin. And it's going to happen. They also asked him constantly about meeting Henry Cavill Superman, or meeting Superman, because he's talked a lot of shit about him versus Superman, which is fair. In the comic books, Black Adam's one of the only people who can actually fuck up Superman a bit. Mm-hmm. And he's been a little more coy with his answers now. He's not talking about like just getting Henry back. He's like, it depends on who plays Superman.
Yeah.
So that
there's a piece of me that like I know the right thing to do is go, all right, it's done. Like he's not coming back.
But I can't let go.
The fact that he said it like that, it kind of has me like,
yeah, I can't let go.
Until someone comes out and says Henry Cavill will not be playing Superman ever again, and we hate him, and he can't.
And stop fucking asking.
Yeah, then it's a possibility.
And he's had sexual allegations against him.
Right. Yeah, that's what it's going to take. Yeah, then I'll be against. Yeah.
We all love him too much otherwise.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it.
That could take him down. Another Me Too.
Oh, no. Anyway, we got a proper trailer for The Sandman, which comes out super fucking soon. August 5th. It's like next... Not this weekend, but next week, right? Yeah, because it's next Friday. It's not this Friday, but the following Friday. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited about this show.
Yeah.
I can see what you mean. We've talked about this show in the past, and you've made mention of like the main character not 100% embodying what you think of as him. I think he does a pretty decent enough job. He looks like he's very like, I don't know what the right word is, like chiseled. He's not like in shape, but he's like very rigid lines. You know what I mean? Gaunt. Yeah, it's a good one. He is gaunt. But I kind of, I read so much of the Sandman that I kind of forgot like the main first like graphic novel book, like what happens. He loses his powers and his journey to get them back. How fucking cool that whole story is.
It's very cool.
It's very cool. And this trailer reminded me about all kinds of things.
Like the guy in the fucking diner with the night. Did you get that far?
Yeah.
With like the nightmare that he's imposing on everyone.
Oh yeah, God, yeah.
Dude,
that's some of the best shit.
So fucking good.
Yeah, he gets one of the Sandman's tools and he imposes it. And there's like a whole sub story. That's why I love Neil Gaiman, because he does all these like disparate storylines, and you're like, these are just stories in the same universe, and then somehow they fucking are important to each other.
Yeah.
And there's like a whole side thing with this diner, and every time they cut back to the diner, you're like, I don't get what's happening here. And slowly as the story progresses, you're like, holy shit, this is like essential to the primary story. It's a great trick in writing he always does, but this looks really cool. And what I like most about it is that, much like the Lord of the Rings things, it doesn't come off like a streaming service show as far as CGI stuff. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
CGI looks well done. I always forget his name, but the guy that's got like mouths for eyes and shit is super creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty excited. I want to see what it has to offer. And August 5th, baby.
Me too. And it's like there's this sense of in the original comics where he's like getting these items back, these like artifacts that like give him his power. And it's really cool. It's hard to explain, and I don't want to sound corny, but it's almost like he's on a like mythological ancient quest, but like in the modern day, like it has that feeling of like, I need the magical items to do the thing.
Modern myths,
but that's what Neil Gaiman's good at. Kind of combining two completely different eras of storytelling into one. He did it with American Gods. He did it with Norse mythology. He's just sort of good at that. My initial criticism remains that the guy doesn't He doesn't look great, the lead. But it's like you're talking. How can you make a character who's modeled after people who look like the Crow, like an edgy '90s goth kid? How can you make him look cool in live action?
Right.
You're only gonna get so close. He doesn't look so bad. I'm like, ugh. So it's like, all right, kind of like how you made an excuse for the cringy line at the end of the Shazam trailer. Same thing here. The other thing is people are attacking this because they recasted like 3 of the Ds as black people. So once again, it's like what? It's a made up story. Like, who gives a shit?
You know what else they complained about? People bitched that they cast Gwendolyn Christie as Lucifer Morningstar as opposed to a man.
Right.
Stupid.
Right. I hate to refer to her as Brienne. Yeah, Gwendolyn Christie. That's her. Gwendolyn Christie. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. She does look not great. It's just the hair. I don't care that they gender swapped her. It's just her weird hair that I hate so much. Like, I hate it so much.
Consequently, I'm like, I always rewatch these while we're talking. There's a woman, and I don't know who this is supposed to be. I don't remember. There's a woman in black leaning over like a red teardrop shaped seat at 1:13 in the trailer, who she got like raven feathers on her costume. I don't know who she's supposed to be, but she looks proper fucking creepy. In it.
1:13.
Anyway.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't know who she's supposed to be, but she looks fucking creepy.
I don't remember enough of it. You know what? I when I watched this, I was like, I am getting these on my Kindle, and I'm going to start reading them again.
Well, that's what I'm excited about, because even though I've somewhat recently listened to the audiobooks, I don't remember all the details anymore. So I'm stoked to like get back into it and watch the show.
Yeah.
No. That's all I got. It's a thing.
No, I'm into this. I agree. We're back on the same page now. We had a couple rough waters there, but here we are. We're back in it, baby.
Yeah, we had a fight about Gwendolyn Christie's hair. Now we're good.
Yeah.
Moving on. So we only have 2 trailers left, but there's a couple pieces of news here that fit in just before it. So Marvel, ton of announcements. 2 trailers, ton of announcements. The trailers were a second trailer for She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, and the trailer for Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. Marvel came out just talking a whole bunch of shit. I didn't realize this, but they considered Phase 4, the one we're currently in, a phase just built off of like reaction and backlash to the blip, which I hate. Because it's made this entire phase feel kind of meaningless and disjointed, and there hasn't been a through line. And even though Kevin Feige's the top of all of it, I swear to God, they were like, all right, give us a phase to start introducing a bunch of our TV shows on Disney Plus, and then you can take the reins back over, because this is the kind of polish and what's the word I'm looking for? Like drive in the MCU that I feel like we've been missing, is to know where we're going, to know what it's all for. Maybe it's because we didn't have any Avengers movies on the slate to like build towards. And I know that like at this point, a lot of people are fucking sick and tired of it. Maybe you included. I don't know. I know you're only super excited for one thing that I'm also super excited for. But they announced Phase 5. So what's going to happen is Phase 4 is ending with Black Panther 2, which comes out in November. Phase 5 starts. In Phase 5, it's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. They released a poster. Kang the Conqueror, guy we got introduced in Loki, although I think it's probably a variant of him, not the same one, is the villain in Ant-Man. Secret Invasion show, Guardians 3, the Echo show, which is going to have Daredevil in it, Loki Season 2, the Marvels film Blade, which I'm also excited for, the Ironheart show, which she's in this trailer for Black Panther, Riri Williams, who we've had, I feel like, so many jokes about over the years. Not her specifically, her name just makes me giggle. Excuse me. Agatha, Coven of Chaos, they're still giving her a spinoff show, I have no idea why. Spring 2024, baby! Daredevil. Born Again, my boy gets his own show back. It's going to be 18 episodes long. And then finally, to cap out Phase 5, it's going to be Captain America 4, New World Order, starting Anthony Mackie. We knew there was going to be a new Cap movie. I'm excited. It's on the page. It's on the paper. I like Mackie as Cap, and I want to see him in his own feature-length film. So, ton of stuff to talk about. All I give a shit to talk about right now is Daredevil. They're putting him everywhere. It's like Feige was finally like, I fucking get it. We heard you guys. You like Charlie Cox. We know he's going to be an Echo. I don't know how much of a character he'll be in there, but he was announced as a character, so I assume at least a couple episodes. Along with D'Onofrio's Kingpin, who will also be back as a primary antag in that series. Then he's going to appear, which we saw at the end of the trailer, at least as a cameo in She-Hulk. I don't know how long it's going to be, but he pops in. We see part of his new costume, which looks to be based off of the yellow Daredevil suit. Finally, he's getting his own show, like I said, in spring 2024, which is based off of a seminal, funnily enough, because I mentioned this to you, that this was like the kind of important graphic novel to Daredevil that like Dark Knight Returns is for Batman, written by the same guy. Frank Miller wrote Born Again, which is a hugely applauded work for Daredevil that shows him in pretty dire straits. Karen Page is actually hooked on like heroin or some shit, and Kingpin uses that to get Daredevil's secret identity out of her, and then proceeds to like ruin his fucking life, like rip everything apart. So let's hope that something close to that happens, maybe without the meth, you know?
Yeah, no meth. We don't need that.
No meth for you.
Oh, no.
So that's phase 5. And I know I'm talking a lot. Phase 5 will end with the Thunderbolts, which is probably the team that's going to consist of Alt Captain America. What was his name? Secret Agent or some shit. The guy in the black suit at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The asshole Captain America.
Right.
U.S. agent, not secret agent. Probably going to have him, Yelena, the new Black Widow, and I don't know, other people that are like alt Avengers. They're like the edgier Edge Vengers. It's new term, TM. Copyright right here. You heard it first. It's going to cap off with Thunderbolts. Before I move on to phase 6, because it's a lot of fucking talking. Thoughts, feelings?
I don't give a shit about any of this except Daredevil. I don't care. Not even Black Panther. Everybody's talking about Black Panther because it was a good trailer. It was a good trailer. But mark my fucking words, they're just going to they're going to prop Chadwick Boseman's corpse up for the next 3 Black Panther involved films. And remember when he was in it?
Wait. Let me say nice things about that trailer before you bash what they're inevitably going to do. I agree with you, but I still like that trailer.
It's a good trailer. I'm not shitting on the trailer, but...
So we actually should talk about that trailer now because that is coming out first before all this other shit. Yeah. So we'll do She-Hulk actually comes out first because it comes out next month. It's out August 17th. So we'll do that. New trailer for She-Hulk. The only comments I have for this is I liked it much.
Bad VFX.
Oh, really?
Sorry.
Still. Okay. You're still in that camp. VFX are better than the first trailer by a lot. As far as facial animation anyway, she doesn't look like she's she doesn't look like she's Shrek anymore. Like when she talks, her mouth moves an appropriate amount. Yeah, they still have work to do on the VFX, but I thought this trailer was a lot funnier than the first one. Like the first one felt like it was really trying to be funny, and this one just felt kind of funny to me. Like I liked it. Of course, that probably is partially influenced by the Daredevil cameo at the end.
I think she's funny, but I think that Mark Ruffalo is dude, even in his voice acting, he's doing his Hulk. He is so wooden and stiff. I have no idea how he gets work anymore. And he used to be a good actor 20 years ago. I swear to God, you get a certain amount of money, all you have to do is just show up. There's no need to try.
That's fair. I mean, he's playing the same Hulk he's played in everything he's been Hulk. I get what you're saying. And she is funny, though. I think she's pretty funny. She does a couple times she has to transform and she's taking her shoes off first and just funny bits that you would have to deal with if you were this in real life. There's 2 things that I took away from this trailer. One, She-Hulk was one of the first characters in the Marvel Comics, to break the 4th wall. She did it before Deadpool did. And she does it in this trailer in a very surprising little moment where she's like, he doesn't really mean that. And they both kind of double take it. I thought that was cute. I also thought maybe they're doing it in She-Hulk to mentally prepare everybody for the entrance of Deadpool to the MCU later on. Who knows? Maybe not. But it's a cool visual. It's like visual prep work almost for an audience. It's plant the idea that this is a thing in the MCU now, and then won't be weird when it happens later. Wouldn't have been weird anyway because we're all used to it. The other thing was She-Hulk is obviously, she's a giant green sexy Hulk who's always in spandex. In the comics, she was horribly sexualized, but they made it like an empowering thing later on. Like they turned it into like she's in control of her sexuality, and they with the first trailer and this one, they seem to be doing that still. Yeah. I mean, you see a quick snippet, but it's her jumping on top of the guy on the couch in her Hulk form. So I'm just gonna say there's gonna be a lot of Rule 34 of this show when it comes out. Is what I'm saying.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. I'll be there slowly because it's hard to walk with my pants at my ankles. Excited though. It looks funny. This gives me more positive vibes towards the show than the first trailer did. You still don't seem sold, but
I'm not.
I hope it's good. I hope the best. I always hope the best.
So too.
Stay positive, baby. I don't know why I kiss my fingers.
You should do that more though. That should be your sign off. See you next week, guys. Like your A-Rod, you just hit a fucking grand slam.
Yeah. Hey, A-Rod. This one's for you. Tupac. I don't know why I said that either. All right, let's go. So that was She-Hulk that comes out next. Again, Daredevil teaser right at the end. Looks cool. Can't wait to see some costume.
Sort of like Blade. All right, I saw Blade as a kid and I thought it was awesome. I bet it aged terribly, so I'm going to keep it in my head how it is. I'm never going to watch it again.
You don't.
Yeah. But
the
it was
CGI
cool
in the
then.
final scene with Steven Dorff is so bad. You should go look it up on YouTube.
Maybe
just to ruin the final fight for yourself.
But Mahershala Ali is incredible.
A choice actor.
And he should be incredible as Blade. And but like, what else do we know about it other than that
nothing?
Kit Harington's going to be in it, so I can't really, so like there's an interest peaked there, but not a whole lot. So really, other than that, Daredevil, the rest of the shit, I don't care. Like it's just words. Secret Invasion, was it Thunderbolts? I already forget. I looked at it 5 minutes ago. Even Guardians of the Galaxy 3 don't really. Yeah, I'll watch it, but I'm not like, whoa, I can't. I don't know. None of this is exciting. It's exhausting, dude. I can't breathe.
I was gonna say there's definitely fatigue. I feel you. But then again, there's Loki season 2 coming out,
and we haven't even started talking about the phase 6 yet, which was also announced.
Yeah,
Loki season 2. Even that, like, I liked season 1, and like I hope season 2 is good. But I'm kind of like, with a lot of these shows,
you're gonna ruin it.
I feel like they're gonna ruin it. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. One hundo. I know what you mean. I'm just more optimistic than you. That's all.
That's why I love you. That's why I married you.
That's why I love you. That's why I married you. Okay. And then before we talk about the phase 6 shit, the trailer for Black Panther Wakanda Forever came out.
Right.
So we knew that they were, we knew that they were going to have a tough time with this because, excuse me, Coogler, as far as we know, had already started an outline for the second movie before the untimely passing of Chadwick Boseman. RIP to a fucking king of a dude.
To a bro.
So they had to redo the whole movie, which is a tough position to be in. But, corporate greed knows no bounds. So here we are. I'm just kidding. Well, I'm not, though. It's real. But, this trailer was very heartfelt. This comes out November 11th, 2022. It starts off with a modernized, I think it's a Nigerian singer. I'm forgetting her name and I'm so sorry. Did a modernized rendition of No Woman, No Cry from Bob Marley. And then that morphs about halfway into It's Gonna Be All Right, which is another like modern version. I thought the trailer is beautiful. It's shot beautifully. Like some of the opening shots of like them in all white, which is what they used when they mourn. They use all white in Wakanda. They did it in the first movie. Clearly his funeral, or at least celebration of him. I thought the trailer was really beautiful, and I thought this was set in stone. I keep seeing people say who's in the Black Panther costume at the end, and I thought the answer was Shuri.
Mm-hmm.
I thought everybody was on the same page, and apparently that's not 100% figured out yet. Like there's some question as to who's in the suit. So just because I know the actor who plays Shuri and some of her views in real,
she's kind of like
real
weird,
life,
right? I can't remember what they are, but she's like a weirdo, isn't she?
Yeah, something like that. I kind of hope it's not her now.
Yeah, maybe there's a chance. There's hope.
All I need is a chance, baby.
It was a very, very beautiful trailer. It was very moving, but it's like, if you're gonna put that time into like a tribute to Chadwick Boseman, then just do that. Don't. I just feel like the whole movie's gonna be like, how can I possibly fill his shoes? Like, how many of these movies have we had that it's like that? Spider-Man with Iron Man. It's and like. The passing of the mantle is a theme of like the past like 7 movies. It's like, come on, like, just I don't know. It just gets boring after a while.
One of the most powerful lines in the trailer, said by Letitia Wright, who's the queen currently. I don't know who she's talking to, but she says, "I am the queen of the most powerful nation in the world, and I have lost my entire family." And she delivers it, fucking perfectly. There's such a good intensity to it. And like right after that, they switched to a fucking mural of Chadwick Boseman. It is very sad. I felt myself welling up with tears. He seems like a bro, and in universe, I don't like watching. I just imagine that it's like someone I love died in that person's place, and then the emotions just hit me in the face like a ton of bricks, like the wave from that anime that I've mentioned once or twice before. But we're not talking. We haven't even mentioned any of the weird shit that happens in this trailer, such as the fact that Marvel is bringing their own version of Atlantis into this. Namor the Submariner, which is the goofiest fucking name of all time.
Pretty bad.
Is their version of Aquaman, more or less. And he's the ruler of Atlantis. Kind of an anti-hero / dickhead a lot of the times in the comics. Like, he ultimately is a good guy, but he butts heads with people all the time. And recently in the comics with Wakanda. It looks like what they're doing is having the people of Atlantis inspired by Mayan culture, almost as if Atlantis had broken off from the same continent. I was watching a whole like little side thing on like so it looks like Namor is like a half human, half Atlantean, because he's the same. He's human color, and whereas everyone else, all these Atlanteans, they're blue. They don't breathe air. In fact, when they come on land, they have masks on. I wonder how much money they had to pay James Cameron for. But they had these really cool, like tribal looking, like armor and ceremonial headdresses that were from aquatic creatures, and they looked really kind of badass, like these inspired like headpieces, like shark jaws and shit on top. But yeah, it seems like something's gonna happen to inspire. It just spoiler alert. It looks like Namor is going to flood Wakanda for something. There's a bunch of scenes here with like the town or city or something getting flooded. So they got beef for some reason. I don't fucking know why they got beef, but they got beef. Marvel gave no shits. They put Namor right in those tight green spandex shorts. They don't give no fucks, my man. Yeah, there's a lot of the soundtrack carries the entire trailer on its back. Like the trailer and the music work so well together here. There is a shot of Riri Williams in this trailer talking to Shuri. She actually cuts out a metal heart on the nose there for Ironheart. It falls to the floor with a clang. I guess we'll get to see her origin as how she ends up stepping into that series that's coming out later on. That's all I got for this.
Me too.
Nothing else?
That's it. I said it all. Got it all out. I tried so hard and I got so far. And in the end, I said everything I had to say. Just like the song.
And in the end, nothing even matters. Mad at you for making me do that. Okay.
I'm proud of you for doing that without your voice cracking with your little sickies.
It's just that I haven't, like, my voice isn't hoarse. It's just that I haven't talked this much.
Yeah.
In like a week and a half. So and I've had a scratchy, dry cough already that I couldn't get rid of. So my voice is just like not it's like an engine backfiring.
Right.
Anyway, moving on. So that was phase 5, sorry. Then they announced phase 6 and you're like, what? They never do this. And they only really announced phase 6 to do 2 things. One, to tell us all that they actually have a date for the Fantastic Four. So the Fantastic Four movie, while they announced nothing else about it, will be the start of phase 6. It will be released in November of 2024. So two years away. They showed a timeline, which is a bunch of blanks. Spoiler alert. I think X-Men properties will be a part of it. Because they've been Miss Marvel uses the word mutants. We haven't talked about that on the show yet. They've been inching and inching closer. Xavier was in Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're slowly working to introduce those people, and I think by the time Phase 6 comes around, I think some of those blanks are going to get filled in with X-Men films. I would bet on it.
You should,
fam. No cap, fam.
Bet, fam.
Bet, fam.
Bet on that, fam.
I'm so sorry to everybody we just offended with that. But Phase 6 is happening, and Phase 6 will wrap up with not one, Derek, not one, but 2 Avengers films. The first Avengers, Derek's sitting here this whole time I'm talking. He's like, can I just fast forward this part? The first one is Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, which is going to be we knew that Kang was being set up to be the next big threat. That's going to pay off there. And they just announced today the director of Shang-Chi, Destin Daniel Cretton, will be directing that Avengers film.
Oh, so we can expect that one to be pretty bad.
Shang-Chi was totally fine.
Oh, God, I couldn't stand it. I thought it was unbearable.
You shitbird. Well, you didn't even think it was shot well?
No, I don't know. I hated it.
No, I'm going to go back and pull the footage.
Right,
you thought the fight scenes were fine.
Maybe I did. Other than the Kamehameha at the end. God, rough.
Kamehameha?
Rough to watch.
Rough like sex with no lube. Avengers, I tried to jump back in, didn't work. Also like sex with no lube. Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, and then after that, Avengers: Secret Wars is happening. Secret Wars is this crazy tale, insane tale, where I forget the name of the person who does it. There's this big cosmic entity. He basically takes heroes and villains from all over the Marvel universe and throws them on a planet called Battle World, and they fight.
What else would you do there?
The only purpose of Secret Wars was to give fans this giant brawler fight, really stupid over the top comic book stuff, but it sounds like they're going to fucking do it. This movie gives them the opportunity to bring back Chris Evans Cap and Tony Stark Iron Man and have them make cameos, which they probably will because they want to make billions and billions of dollars.
They're going to be like 58 years old at that point. Why would you want to keep doing it?
Future Cap. Future Stark.
I feel like these actors at some point, you've got to get tired of. This is what Hugh Jackman said when he decided to stop. Huge jacked man. When he said that Logan was going to be his last X-Men film. X-Men. Why did I say X-Man? Weird. Don't spit out your tea there, buddy. That was
he is
close.
an X-Man.
Yeah, singular, but he is a part of the X-Men franchise. He's like, yeah, I'm old
X-Men.
and I miss eating things that I like to eat that taste good. Like, I'm tired of staying in like peak physical condition.
We were talking about that after Love and Thunder came out because Hemsworth is like the biggest he's ever been in that movie. That man, he eats nothing but like egg whites.
Yeah. You gotta get sick of that though. Like I get the money, but like even with the money you got in party, you could like fuck anyone in the world you want. You're like, oh, sorry, it's been 1 hour and 45 minutes. I have to consume 80 grams of protein in my protein shake before I do anything else and then shit it out and then go work out for 4 hours before I can have another sip of this daiquiri that you've made me. It's like, that's gotta be all consuming to look like that. There's gotta be like no free time whatsoever.
It's all consuming for me. Hey, Hemsworth. How you doing, buddy?
I appreciate what you guys are doing out there. I appreciate the work you're putting into your bods.
Put this on Twitter, the Hemsworth Hall Pass hashtag. All right. Stuff's happening. Lots of superhero stuff. While I was a little energized just because at the prospect of them having like a proper plan up on screen that culminates in proper Avengers films, I was like, all right, cool. This could be all right. I get it. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of people are like, what else could they possibly do? I just hope they keep surprising us. That's all. I just want, I like good things and I'm going to be optimistic about it. Boy, howdy. Can I not fucking wait for that Daredevil show though?
Yeah, same.
Can't fucking wait.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be good. I can't wait till She-Hulk so we can see his new costume. That's next month.
Yeah. I'm worried about the 18 episode thing. Like, are we going to move back? Remember when like every TV show, like every season had 25 episodes and like 9 of those episodes were like, I lost my dog and I have to find it. Like they're just stupid shit. I hope we're not like inching our way back to that now.
Yeah, it was the Fido saga.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's time for main topics.
MT. T.
MTTTTTTT. Sorry, I had my echo turned up higher. Or not echo. Fucking goddamn it, I messed it up. Let's move on. Let's just do this in order.
Let's do it.
What We Do in the Shadows, episode 1 and 2. I actually have very quick thoughts about it.
Mm-hmm.
It still makes me laugh.
Yeah.
So far. Well, see, I can't talk about episode 3. I really loved episode 3, and I'm poisoning your idea of it going in. Now you know that I loved it.
I'm actually wondering if I even watched episode 2, honestly. I feel like I might have only watched the premiere.
Well, unfortunately, I can't tell you precisely what happens in the second one.
Yeah.
I do know that this running trope of Laszlo being worried that the baby Colin Robinson is going to turn into a boring adult has only been getting better and better, and it gets really good in 3. And there's this fucking gag about Legos that I was almost crying. It was really good. I can't wait for you to watch it.
Me too.
But so far the show's like more of the same. It's like it's the people that I like.
It's still hitting. It's still doing it. It's funny.
Yeah. It was not a critique at all.
Yeah.
Nandor is like just the whole like wishing his wives away thing.
Oh yeah.
Is fucking he's like, oh, go get your prize from the Jinn, and then he just and then fucking he's gone. It's been really funny so far. If you are a fan of What We Do in the Shadows, you will be a fan of the new season.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know that Nadja in like the first and second episode says she wants to open the nightclub. The third episode is where she does open the nightclub,
right?
And all the hijinks that can. So the episode 3 revolves around the performing act that she gets to do it, which I won't spoil.
Okay.
Hijinks surrounding that, and some Colin Robinson shit that was just A1 for me. I really love it.
Yeah.
I can't spoil it, but I need you to
gotta
catch
watch
up.
it now. Yeah, I will. I'll do it. I'll
but that's
do
all.
it.
Like Derek and I don't have anything revelatory to tell you. If you like this show, you'll still like it. It's funny.
Still doing it.
It's well written. I thought I was going to be annoyed that they were just all back again, but I'm like, the gang's back together.
Yeah.
And they did show the passage of time with the house being an absolute crock of shit, like falling apart. The whole like there's a gas leak joke, like that's going to come back at some point and blow somebody up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. That's easy. Derek, how'd you feel about Resident Evil?
It's a little more.
Your whole feelings summed up into one sentence. No spaces.
Wanted to hate it more than I did, but it still was pretty bad. Like I wanted to. No, really. Like I expected, especially from what everyone was saying, like it's been dragged everywhere. Like everywhere. So I assumed that it was going to be like within 15 minutes, like, ugh, this is stupid. And a lot of it was like, felt like it was a teen drama, but it's like it's a Resident Evil. So it's clearly TVMA, but it's even like down to the soundtrack and like I like boys and you don't like boys and we're drifting apart. It's just it just all felt very like
cafeteria we attend. Everyone wears pastels.
Yeah. Like it felt very like an MTV show, but weirdly enough, there was like this family shit happening in the past time, or rather present day, because it took place 2022. That I found myself sucked into. I don't know why. Lance Reddick killed the role as
he's great
as Wesker. Like he was so good, and you see that he's trying to be a dutiful father, but that you finished it, right? You watched all of it. You see he's trying to be like a dutiful father. But that he's also knows that he's kind of the only person who can veer Umbrella off into the hellish nightmare that they want to create. The twist that he was a clone of the original Wesker in concept was really good, but that scene where Wesker as Blade was like the most cringe thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
However,
it was
like
fucking really bad.
the concept of it, that didn't feel cheap to me. Like that makes sense. Wesker's like a crazy geneticist or eugenist, and like cloning himself to have basically slaves feels like something he would do.
I did love Bert though.
Bert was in. That's what I was gonna. Okay, so Bert was incredible. He was like
Bert's a honey.
And hearing Lance Reddick do not his voice was just like amazing. Okay, bro. It was like just incredible to hear him talk like that. I
felt so bad for him because he's like, I have daughters. Like he was stoked.
Yeah. What's weird is the general consensus that I see online of people shitting on her, like, oh, they should have just done all the future stuff because the present day stuff was boring. I hated all the stuff in the future. I thought it was so cringe. Like every scene was just not good. I know that it's not going to get a season 2, but if it did, I would watch it. I would continue watching. It's weird. Like there was something about it. I think what I liked was the aesthetic of the show. It was really well done. The like New Raccoon City and all the umbrella buildings and everything in the present day, everything felt very like sterile and like pharmaceutical. Like they just got that vibe down so well.
Yeah.
There was like some attempts to like nod at the video game, like where they're looking for their dad's note. It's like, why not just leave him a fucking note? But I get what they were doing. Like you had to do a puzzle like you do in the games and this and that. They mention a couple characters. Ada Wong in the end is mentioned. I mean, like there was enough of a connection to the games, but clearly they were like, look, we just want to do our own thing. We don't want to recreate the games. Like we just want to create our own storyline. And I respect that. They didn't really succeed. But I feel like the amount of hate people have for it, like I feel like it has redeeming qualities. And most people, it seems like they don't. But there were some frustrating things. I'm going to get all my thoughts out because then I'm just done. I'll have said everything I have to say about it. The guy whose name I can't remember now, the fat guy, it was frustrating in the beginning. He was in like the first half. He was pursuing present day Jade. They were trying so hard to make him likable and it wasn't working. And then all of a sudden it worked. Like in that one episode where they're sort of in like a bottle episode in the jail cell and he's talking about his dogs and it's tongue in cheek and stupid. But there's this like cool trekking shot, quote unquote, where he's like killing all these zombies and then he dies. It's like, all right, you have been like desperately trying to get me to like this fucking idiot this whole time. You finally somehow make it happen, and then you kill him a minute later. I'm like, that sucked. I don't know.
Also, was that not the incel fantasy shot?
Right.
Like that whole sequence? Like, hey guys, I finally get to use my samurai sword and my sweet skills with a submachine gun.
I thought it was shot well enough, though. I didn't mind it. It's over the top. Isn't all Resident Evil kind of over the top? I mean,
I'm sorry. I know I'm picking on that guy's weight a little bit. He is a heftier guy.
Yeah,
he does in fact look like
I'm a big old.
He looks like he'd play World of Warcraft with Derek and I because we went back.
But overall, I wouldn't rate it highly. I don't regret watching it though. Like there was enough about it that I really liked. Oh my god, I wanted to fuck the president of Umbrella so bad. Holy shit!
Oh, you have a thing.
She's so mean. Oh my god, she was so hot. And there's an episode where she's like in a bikini or something, and she did it for me. Oh my god. I wanted her to spit in my beard so bad. She was something.
I imagine whenever Ron hears you talk about this shit, she's just like,
she's just used to it at this point.
Now I gotta fucking tell him he's fat later again so that he can come. Ron, never tell me you actually did that. I'll never be able to get the image out of my head. I'm so sorry. I meant to mute the mic.
You goddamn son of a bitch.
I had basically the same thoughts. So I came to the same conclusions as you about the show, which is that it's not that great, but I didn't regret my time watching it. Is basically what I can say. And what's a little bit disingenuous about my take on it, which is a weird thing to hear someone say, is that when I first started watching, we watched the first 2 episodes for the pod. I stopped there because I didn't want to know. I wanted to know exactly like where it cut off. Yeah. Because if I end up watching more of a show than you did, I forget like where we were supposed to stop. So I watched 2, was really enjoying it, stopped watching it, and then the party happened, and the bully barbecue, and I drove Scott home, and on the way home, I was like, yeah, like he brought it up, and I was like, yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, I'll give you an early preview. I was like, I like this show a lot more than I thought I would.
Mm-hmm.
And it was true at the time. And I mean, I still like the show a lot more than I ultimately thought I would. But the show started off up here for me. And then as more and more stuff happened in the present, it just went like this.
Yeah.
Again, not saying it's a bad show, but it is kind of a bad show. Like, it's like more and more shit happen. Like, okay, perfect example. Her sister, I forget her name, the one that ends up working with Billy, who ends up working with Umbrella. There's a scene where Jade comes in to talk to Mean Bitch, head of Resident Evil.
That one.
And she just breaks out in a song. And I was like,
oh,
what?
yeah. I forgot about that.
I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And then Billy walks in. She's like, look, I can make her do whatever I want. And I'm like, I get what you were trying to say, but that was like the cringiest way possible in which you could say it.
Yeah.
And it felt like the show was trying to out cringe itself towards the end.
Yeah.
They were like, here's a quick flashback with a salamander that has the T-virus so we can show you this giant crocodile that's got it. And then, I don't know. I kept like, what's her name? Billy walks out with like 4 drones that are
and kills like 7,000 zombies.
Dude, stuff like that drives me so fucking crazy. And I get it. I like superhero movies. I know that I myself am a proponent of suspend your disbelief. But when she walks out there so blatantly and all these guys with rifles are getting like destroyed by zombies, and she just struts out with like 4 drones circling her who have finite fucking ammunition. And there's just, I was like, what? This is fucking so stupid. I don't know. I really liked it early on because it was more grounded early on and it was more focused on the family drama. And they kept doing this thing where it was like Billy gets bit. And then you find out pretty soon after that she's still alive in the future. Like Jade mentions her sister or something. And you're like, well, I wonder how she survives. Like, I'm sure we'll get there. You're like, oh shit. Okay. I wonder how this is going to happen. And then you find out like, she's not friends with her anymore. And you're like, oh, okay. I wonder what divided them. Stuff like that. And I really liked the way they were doing that. And I was super into it. And I just, somewhere around like episode 6, I was just like, okay, if I wasn't invested in it already, I wouldn't care at this point anymore.
That was the same wall that I hit. I was like, okay, I've watched 75% of the show. To not watch the remaining 25% when I watched most of that in a day would just be silly. Like, why not just knock this out?
Yeah.
And so that's why I did. But really the biggest part of why I think the future timeline was so bad is that nobody was a good actor in the show, save for Lance Reddick. But the grown up Jade and Billy were like significantly worse than the young, and they weren't particularly good, the young ones. But I'm just saying, like, they were a lot better actors than the adult versions. All of their dialogue was so like forced. Like, well, I think you're a bitch. Well, I think you're a bitch too. Like, it's like they like watched a 90s teen drama about like sisters who were in a feud and how do they talk to each other, and they just like use that like outdated weird 30-year-old diagram to write their dialogue. It was, every interaction between them was really bad.
Well, I'm feeling adventurous, so I'm gonna ride the skateboard I never rode before. Off a sick ramp, bro. All right. Anyway, moving on.
Let's talk about men.
So go watch it and be roped in for the ending, and you're welcome. Basically, is the review for Resident Evil. And I agree. If they released a second season, I'd start it. I'd see what was happening, and then maybe turn it off depending on what it is. I'd be like, yeah, the nostalgia is not worth this. I'm not doing it. Mm-hmm. All right, we watched Men. That's all it is. Men. I knew nothing about this film going in besides the creepy teaser trailer for it, which was just like one dude in a variety of different makeup and costume ensembles, seemingly harassing or haranguing this woman. Okay, so this is an A24 film. And when I say it's an A24 film, that implies certain baggage. That means there will be some aspects of this movie that one could call mustache twirlingly artsy fartsy. No, I'm kidding. So what they're really known for, at least from what I've seen, is having heavy themes and really pushing them. And in some cases, like writing the theme on the wall and underlining it 12 times and being like, see, that's what we're saying. And at the end, by the end, you're like, I fucking got it 20 minutes in. You didn't have to. Yeah. I didn't need the rest of it. Men is a very unsettling movie. It's like a commentary on toxic masculinity. So much so to the point that like every male character she sees has the same face on them. Because it's all she can see.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we're all the same to her. And again, it's one of those things where like early on you're like, I get it, and they just keep hitting you in the head with a ballpoint hammer until you're also dead on the floor. No, I enjoyed this movie. It made me very uncomfortable. I think the themes were a little heavy-handed to the point where I'm like, the movie's making me feel stupid. Because I'm like halfway through, I'm like, do you think I don't get it already? Is that why you keep doing it? Because I get it. And now you're making me like, am I missing it? And then at the end, it's like, no, you weren't missing it. And of course, the end, 10 out of 10, like 8 vaginal births back to back.
Horrid.
Really just body horror to the max. I don't know how to talk about this movie. It's a self-indictment of males everywhere. It's I would say true. I mean, a lot of it was cringy because it felt honest. I mean, she's talking to the police officer in the pub, telling him about what's happening, and there's an air of like disbelief, like you're just being a hysterical woman. There's a lot of these typical examples of toxic masculinity that don't feel far-fetched or out of touch. They feel like something you would hear someone say to a young woman who's acting like this. I need you to have your thoughts.
It's the opposite. It had the opposite effect on me that Thor Love and Thunder had, in that we walked out of that theater and I thought, well, that was okay. And then since then I've thought that was not okay. That was a bad movie. When we finished it, I asked Veronica, what did you think? And she said, I didn't like it. And I said, I don't think I did either. And since then I've just sort of thought about it. And I do like it more and more. I have a major criticism of it, though. So what I like about it is that it's a thriller, and a thriller is supposed to thrill, and it was thrilling. So there were a lot of shots that were like genuinely like unsettling. Like there's in the very beginning. I thought that there was let me say this. There was an interesting, maybe I'm reading too deep in it. Tell me if I'm just being like a amateur film analyst here or something, but
hit me deep, Danny.
I feel like there was this cool thing where she'd be like out in the woods and nobody's around. She lives in this house by herself and everything would be very quiet, no dialogue, or extremely minimal for up to 10 minutes sometimes. And then you'd have these huge bursts of dialogue wherever she was with someone, and then back to the sort of quiet. And I felt like that was sort of amplifying sort of like her, this sense of isolation that she's out there by herself, even though there's a town nearby, there's a church right within stone's throws distance. Right. It just felt very like she felt very out on her own, which I liked that. There's like the shot where she's in the tunnel and she just sees a silhouette of a guy like
I love that shot.
Start running at it, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, what would you do in that situation?
There's a part where she goes at her front door and the cop is in the front yard.
Oh, hang on. I have a misogynistic joke to tell before you continue. And then she's going back to the house and she totally misses her turn, because if she had a man showing her the way, she'd. I'm 100% kidding. Jesus Christ, no one clip that out of context. Continue.
It's gonna happen when you run for president in 2040.
Hey, baby.
So there was a shot where she goes out her front door and like the policeman's there and she's like, what are you doing here? And the light turns off and turns back on and he's gone. Like that kind of shit, just like, oh God. It's
even
like,
early on with a creepy yellowish guy, like he comes up and sticks his fingers through the fucking mail thing. He's like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I was like, ah.
And even the stuff like when she's on the phone and you just see him in the background, like just staring at her. Some of it was try hard, like some of it was trying to gross you out too much, like the priest with the cut in half hand, like, you know, putting his hands all over her and blah. Like
so creepy.
Ultimately, like I appreciate that it was just sort of a look into the different manifestations of toxic masculinity. The one that I didn't understand, and maybe I missed a line of dialogue, maybe you can help me, is the landlord. Like, I didn't get how he factored into it. He just seemed like a hapless, nice guy. I don't understand what was like...
Until the end, when he was pushed to the edge, I have no idea.
Yeah, I didn't get how he played into it, really. But in any event, I thought that it was... I appreciated that it showed, like, the different manifestations of it. I appreciated that the Russian doll scene, the last iteration of, like, the, person that gave birth to was her husband who killed himself, who was, the primary toxic person in her life, threatening to kill himself if she left him, yada yada. It was
that whole, like, her drama, her personal tragedy, I should say, before going to this house and where the movie takes place was excellently done.
Yeah,
it was very difficult to watch, and like seeing a personality like that, like, it was very painful because it felt real.
It felt extremely real.
Yeah.
And one thing I thought was interesting, I don't know, maybe you picked up on this immediately, Veronica. I didn't realize till the end, but you had, when she hit the dude with the car, he broke his ankle. And of course she cut the dude's hand. Well, he cut his own hand in half when he pulled it through the mailbox thing. Her husband, when he fell out of the roof, had one of the spikes of the gate go through his hand, and he had his left ankle shattered. So they were kind of giving away ahead of the time that it was about him. I got the message. Like you said, it was a little browbeating. They're like, all the toxic masculinity is what gave birth to people like your husband. And so I did, I ruminated on it for a couple days, and I'm like, I think I did like that movie. It was unsettling. It made a decent point, but here's my major criticism. All it manages to say is toxic masculinity exists. We know that. And it gets weird. It doesn't have anything like, it doesn't provide a solution. Not that I'm saying it. I just feel like there could have been something more than just saying, hey, men are bad a lot. Yeah, we know that's been the topic of conversation for a long time now. It's right on the forefront. It gets even weirder when it's like, the movie was directed and written by a guy. So isn't it feel kind of like he's like, I get it though, ladies. So just hit me up because I'm not one of them.
Is Alex Garland single? Holy shit, we might just figure out his whole plan.
But he is kind of this guy who, Ex Machina was incredible.
No, he's married, bro.
He did Annihilation, which was another movie. People really praised that movie, and I felt like that got so caught up in its metaphor that it sort of just was not interesting to me. I do want to rewatch it, though. I only watched it one time. And this was another one that got caught up in the metaphor, but I don't know. There's something about it I just didn't mind, other than that the only point he's making is something we all already know. Again,
I feel like the audience that would have benefited from watching this movie the most will never watch it.
Yeah, exactly, because they know
they're the people who go, men, it's a thriller about men being evil, fucking libtard bullshit, and they scroll So that's always the danger of that stuff, is that it's not pandering, but it's like the people who watch it because they kind of already like you said, what's it doing, right? And I mean that super seriously. Is it doing something good? Is it telling a good message? It's telling us that this thing exists and that it can be horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
We know that. I know men can be massive pieces of shits.
Yeah.
I'm not mean to say that the movie doesn't have value. It very much does. I feel like the most value it could possibly have, it will never even begin to scratch, because that audience is basically forever shut off from this.
Yeah.
They'll never watch it because the radio stations they listen to.
Women coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought this was about equality. They didn't release a movie called Women where they're the killers.
But I did like it. Ultimately, I did appreciate it.
I did, from an artistic and a film standpoint, I did. It was very unsettling. And as you put it, the definition of a thriller, yeah, sure. It accomplished that. I stand by exactly what I said earlier. It just became this act of aggressively retelling me the theme in more and more grotesque ways until the 5-way male birth at the end.
Yeah.
And then it was over. And I was left wanting. I called Derek in the middle of the night.
It's true.
This is all true. You don't even know where I'm going. I appreciate that commitment to the bit. That's it. We're done.
That'll do it.
We had a ton of shit. We got it done in 2 hours.
Yeah,
I feel
not
very
too
proud
bad.
of this.
My legs hurt so bad. Love doing this. Can't wait to be done. Can't wait to stretch these legaroons.
Episode 76, Dysentargaryen. We need a thumbnail, and it cannot be related.
Mm.
We'll have to think of one.
Yeah. We'll get there. We'll come to it. We'll come to.
Is there a funny face that I can Photoshop into the poster of men? That's a good concept. We'll roll with that.
Yeah, we'll
There's
see
also
where we
lots
go.
of shit to talk about. We'll be back. Should be back next week. Derek has a little family vacay,
Little vake.
but I think we're still going to be able to record that Mondays to regular time.
Should be good.
We're going to start becoming more active on Twitter because I might be paying a lot of money to do that. And fuck it. Go follow us on Twitter. Come write us emails. I want to hear from you.
Yeah, talk to us. We love you.
Talk to me, baby. It was in Goofy. Was it Goofy the movie? Yeah. Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, baby.
Very good. Very well done.
You gotta go watch it. And then we can listen to the Powerline songs that were a ripoff of Michael Jackson. Where can everybody find you at?
They can find me on Twitter at Dr. Gloom MD. That's DRGLOOMMD.
It's Gary Loomis.
Dr. Gary Gloom.
Lumens.
Loomed.
I got a new washer dryer today. You can find me at Twitch and Twitter at TCM Plays. I'm not kidding. They're very cool, and we definitely live in 2022 because my washer and dryer had to get connected to my Wi-Fi.
Wow. All right. So that means it's listening to you talk and
It's the
adding
deep
that
state.
to your
Yeah. When I do laundry, it plays the podcast back to me. That's how I have it set up.
Right. Very nice.
Episode 76 of the Washing Chronicles. The stain on the shirt won't come out, Christopher. What did you do? What did you do? All right, that's it. It's going to wrap us up. We'll see you next week for episode 77.
We'll see you then. 77.
777.